This is First and 15th. We talk about inspiration, motivation, life-changing moments, and conquering fears. Twice a month, we have amazing guests popping through. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to First and 15. I'm your host, Karal Bush, and I'm excited to have today's guest. So I'm going to have our guest, Chris, tell us about who you are and what you do in terms of today's topic on craftsmanship, and then we'll jump right in.
Excellent. So, my name is Chris Etienne. I am a woods craftsman. That means that I do all types of woodwork, designs, and artwork. I've been doing that for over 20 years now, since a little bit after college.
Okay, awesome. And so I must say that we are both alum of the greatest college university. So that was not planned, but it's a coincidence.
Go Turks.
Yes, go Turks always. So how did you get interested in the whole field of being a craftsman? Because in my opinion, as someone who is a bit more than handy, that's not as common now and as it was, say, 15, 20 or some past years ago.
Absolutely. I've always been an artist. So I grew up with my grandmother teaching me how to paint. And this is at like maybe 5 years old. And I've always been interested in art, comic books, cartoons, anything that had to do with bright and vivid colors. I loved it. And what ended up happening was when I got to the University of Maryland in college,
Yeah, come on.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a career path. I didn't have anything that I was interested in outside of art. And, I kind of internally didn't want to tell my mom, I don't know what I want to do with my life. So she encouraged me to become an artist. She said, why don't you study art studio? And that became my major. Okay. And I studied all different types of techniques, watercolors, oil paintings, acrylic paintings, carving, metal work, everything. And that became my passion. So even when I graduated in my fraternity here, I had a lot of brothers who would request things like this fraternity shield. They say, hey, can you make me the shield? And I tried it, and it actually turned out very good. And they actually paid me, and I didn't know that. Yeah, I was like,
all right, okay, I'll take that.
So it was interesting to me, and I was making money. So
awesome. So then, with this not being your actual full-time career, how do you marry your craftsmanship with your day-to-day life?
So day-to-day, 9 to 5, my full-time job, I'm an IT consultant. So in working on a computer for 8 to 9 hours a day, I don't really have a chance to use my hands and to use my, creative side of my brain. Right. I think going into my workshop, which is my garage, and taking a blank piece of wood, which is my canvas, and turning that into, a great, beautiful, colorful piece of art is something that I think I love doing. And it's different every single time. Sometimes I have people who request the same piece that I've made before, like a sports team or a fraternity item. But most times it's something different that I've never had a chance to create. And I think using my creativity to see how I'm going to either layer the work or cut it and design it so that I have a finished product that I can be proud of.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So you clearly have had a passion for art since you were a really, really young kid. So was there something when you were younger that gave you a spark for your love of art in general?
No, so this isn't, like a happy, story, but, I grew up in the Bronx, New York, and in the Bronx, the neighborhood where I grew up, it wasn't very safe. So my mother, she was a single parent, and she had to work and go to school to make money so that she could support myself and my brother. So my mom wasn't home a lot, and my grandmother by that time had passed away. So My brother, he would be outside playing basketball. He's a little bit older than I am. I was at home by myself a lot. So my mother, she would, make sure I had enough things to do to occupy my time. She would buy me comic books. And I remember Ninja Turtles, Batman, all of my favorite characters. And she would constantly buy me these comic books to, make sure that I was doing something other than being bad. So I would copy those comic books and draw them exactly as I saw them. And I would watch a lot of TV, obviously, cartoons and things like that. But the idea that those comic books were drawn by somebody, I thought I could do that too. I could be a comic book illustrator. So I started drawing. It wasn't until I actually got to college and learned in those classes that you can do things like carve wood. You can make oil paintings and acrylic paintings. And that's when I knew that it wasn't just pencil and graphite on paper. You can expand your art into anything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Say that. Oh, that is inspirational. Knowing that your mom saw so much in you, just to not have you just sit at home and look at TV, like here's comic book and then take this comic book and then start drawing that way. So on display, we clearly see the white and the blue for Phi Beta Sigma.
So,
And you're clearly wearing blue your fraternity. With you making so many pieces over these last several years, what kind of impact have you had, either locally or nationwide, on frats and sororities?
Pretty big impact. So for those who are not Greek, they don't really have an understanding of how important these symbols and pieces of art are to the members of these organizations. I think the amount of time that you spend pledging and dedicating your time and energy into an organization like a fraternity or sorority, that's something that you take with you wherever you go. And you don't age out of it either. In the IFC and PHA, when these, white fraternities and sororities, they constantly reiterate that was a college thing. I did it while I was in college and now it's over and that part of my life is done. Whereas Pan-Hellenic Council, we tend to have graduate chapters. We work in the community, no matter how old we are, even after college.
Yes.
So when you make something like this fraternity shield, it's so appreciated by our members that they will pay, extreme amounts of money. And there aren't a lot of people that create the fraternity shield or other items in wood anymore.
Okay.
So when I make them, people are very interested to see, oh, where'd you buy that? And I said, I didn't buy it, I made it.
Right.
So like, for example, you see these, the 3 crescent moons up there, right? So the 3 crescent moons, people, and then you can see over here, there's a crescent moon with a sigma in it. So these items are things that people rarely find, especially sigmas, by vendors. They don't see people making them anymore. So when they see me and they see these items, they're like, oh, I need you to make it, man. I haven't been able to find it. It's almost like a vintage item. So these are things that fraternities and sororities rarely can find. So I have a niche in making these 3D wood pieces that are so, revered and loved and cherished. So the price goes a little bit higher.
But also a true passion.
Yeah.
Like you're not going in just to be like, yeah, I want some money. Like you're putting so much of your energy and your heart into it. And is there evident in your shield and the crescent moons, and there are various items over here that y'all can't see, but is there evident on this wall how much passion Chris has for his craft? What ways do you see your business as a craftsman helping out other young people who may be inspired to do what you do?
That's a great question. Recently, I've come in contact with another craftsman. This guy is an alpha. His name is Abisha. Shout out to Abisha.
Hey, what up?
Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. The story goes on Instagram, and some random person contacts me and reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I need you to make me a paddle." And I said, "Sure, no problem. This is the cost." And he said, "Well, I would like to buy in bulk because I'm an artist and I need to decorate the paddle. So I'd like to buy 10 paddles." So I told him the price and he never responded.
Okay.
Months later, come to find out, we had a mutual friend, and I told him, I said, hey, why didn't you just tell me who you were? I would have answered. He ends up now coming to my house maybe once a week to learn some of the skills and the trade that I've been doing for almost 20 years now. And he's just now learning it. He's, I think about 24, 25 years old. And he had no idea that, you can use a machine. He's doing a lot of stuff by hand. And I feel like I'm able to not only provide him with the techniques, but I'm also providing him resources and saying, there's an actual machine that can do what you spent 4 to 5 hours doing. This machine could do. You can do things now. Like I used to cut everything by hand, and there's a machine now that can cut it. And then, there's some people that have given me their criticism to say, oh, well, if it's a machine cutting it, isn't that cheating? Isn't that, it's taking away from your skill? And I said, well, I know that if I cut this by machine, can you do this? Can you paint it to a certain, yeah. So
all these curves that you're doing it by hand. Yes, maybe with a bunch of sanding, but you still will not have the same finish, the same smoothness as using a machine, which is still using your craft, in my opinion.
So I guess mentoring Bijah has become another part of my passion, because I teach my sons, but my sons, a shout out to Carter and Dylan, they're 11 and 7 years old. So they're a little bit too young to kind of really understand some of the skill that's necessary for fine tuning a piece of art, but they still understand that daddy does, woodwork. So Bijah, being a young African-American male, I take pride in showing him some of the techniques and the skills and the resources that I have to pass it on to somebody and say, let me not be selfish and say, no. This is, trade secrets. You can't have this. You shouldn't know how to do it because you're my competition. So he's learning, I'm teaching him, and he's appreciating it. Not only selling his work, but he's also saying, you need to go see, he calls me his mentor. So I didn't know how somebody's best.
Clear. I love when Black people give back without feeling like they are having to hold on to their secrets, their ideas. So I'm actually getting teary-eyed right now. So my eyeballs are burning because I'm just so okay. So background. My dad is a proud Omega, and so I may be having him order some things where he goes, I don't know your prices. You check Chris yourself, but like with him, he has instilled from when I was a little kid. He's purple and gold. So everyone in the house knew that was his thing. But also with him, he worked with his hands since he was a teenager. So he had his own business, houses, construction, retail. So like his whole life, he's kind of retired a little bit, but still. But I'm like, Dad, you're almost 70. Like, when are you gonna stop?
Yeah.
So he does do handy work, I guess, on the side now. But just knowing that like when you get to that age of, say, your mid 60s, you may by then have inspired so many more men.
Yes.
Than Bijah to do craftsmanship or to do any kind of thing that may involve their hands. So I definitely know that he's not the only one.
Yes.
That you'll be having some more people and they say, hey, Chris, can you mentor me? Can you show me how to use a certain kind of machine?
My frat brothers, they always ask me, they say, why don't you get, an intern? Because I spend a lot of time on each project. And when I tell my customers how long it takes to actually finish, sometimes they don't want to wait. Sometimes they think that I can have stuff done in like 2-3 days. And I said, if I had people working with me, I could do it. So my friends, hey, you should get, an intern. And I said, there's not that many people interested in doing the work. They like the finished product.
Right.
They like when you see the finished product, but no one really wants to sit sanding, priming, sanding again, priming again.
Scenes in there. I even dark. We're in a way kind of, so I understand how much goes into what the actual final product looks like. So I get it. Since you are someone who is inspiring others right now, Has anyone inspired you during your journey?
I do think having studied art at the University of Maryland, there's several African American artists that I took from and then learned from. Karal Walker, Aaron Douglas, Jacob Lawrence, some of my favorite painters and artists in general, Basquiat. These inspirations to me, they don't necessarily mean that from what I see, the work that they've done in their body of work, that my work reflects theirs. I think the idea that they were able to produce products and pieces of art that were appreciated and recognized as beautiful and significant made me understand and realize that the work that I put out is actually a great product. It's something that people want. It's not just me thinking that, oh, yeah, I'm a great artist and I do good work. No, people have actually talked to me and said, you're amazing.
Yes,
Your work is great.
I am looking at what you had on this side that y'all can't see. So on this side is Phi Beta Sigma, and then right here is Zeta Phi Beta. So he definitely loves what he does, and it's not just for fun.
Yeah, I do, because my wife, she's a Zeta, so I'm the Sigma, so this is the whole Zeta Phi Beta Sigma ball. We got everything in here. So I have a customer who dropped off. It's an AKA clock. So yeah, so no, so it's one of my neighbors. No, one of my neighbors, he's an Omega, like your father. And he said, hey, my mom's an AKA, and I bought her this clock in the 90s. And I haven't been able to find anybody who can replicate this. I want you to make me one as an Omega. So he brought me, he's like, use this as reference. So like I was thinking, there's pieces that people can't find anymore because I think that craft, has disappeared. So people don't make them anymore. So he's asking me, he said, you think you can make this for me? But instead of AKA,
what makes you stand out from other businesses who are also doing woodwork?
My work is based upon the customer's need and desire. So if you come to me and you ask me, hi, Chris, I'm Karal. I want you to make me a family shield. And I recently did one, by the way. I have a customer who he had an idea of a family crest and coat of arms that he wanted me to make. So it didn't relate to the Panhellenic Council.
Okay.
It was just his family. And these are the symbols that he wanted on it. He wanted something like a fleur-de-lis, a mountain with the crown on it, and an eagle. So he had all different types of ideas, and it was my, task to put it all together. So as an artist, I love the challenge of having to not only take the requirements from the customer and put it all together, but to see the customer's idea come to fruition and come to life. So I follow a couple of artists who do similar work, 3D layered wood that's painted. Some of these artists, like I said, I have a few people who criticize that I use a machine to cut the wood, whereas these artists are using a scroll saw. So I used to use a scroll saw. So for those who don't know what a scroll saw is, it's a machine that has a small, tiny saw that vibrates up and down, and you have to push the wood through it in the direction that you want to get the shape that you want. And they do it, quote unquote, by hand. Whereas me, I have a computer and I have software that aligns a driver bit on a CNC machine to cut the wood in the direction that I want. It saves me time, whereas not being at a scroll saw. So I think, that's.
I never used it, but I've frequently seen it. So I'm like, it's too time consuming for me.
So the idea is they use the scroll saw and I use a CNC machine. What separates me is that, again, I take my time to get the requirements from the customer. Now, generally, the customer will see something like a sports team, a fraternity, a sorority emblem, and they'll ask for it. Now, I don't necessarily want to do repeated items again and again and again. I want to do different and creative things. So I think what separates me is that I'm able to take any requirement that you give me, depending upon certain factors. Like there's certain work that I won't do. Like if it's something that's disrespectful or racist, I won't do it. I'll give you an example. Living here in the DMV, the Commanders' former team name was the Redskins. And I've had several customers ask me, hey, can you do the Redskins logo? And I've turned down a lot of money because I didn't want to represent something that represented racist, tones. So I've done the word Redskins. I've done the spear, the chief feather, but I've never done the face.
I was thinking, you were saying no to like all Redskins
No.
items, but have someone actually even think it's okay to even want the face is baffling.
Yeah, so that I think I've seen people.
Yeah, that's definitely offensive. No.
Yeah.
Don't ever call me this.
Yeah. So you were asking what separates me. I think some of these other artists that I've seen on social media, they don't have the level of integrity that Yeah, the standards like for another team is the Cleveland Guardians. Before the Guardians, they were the Cleveland Indians. And that logo was highly offensive, highly racist. They'll make that logo now, even though they're the Guardians, and say, this is what the customer wanted. I'm getting paid, and you got what you wanted, and I can't sleep at night knowing that I'm still promoting something that racist, something that offensive, to the Native American community, and saying this is okay, just as long as I get my money, I got my bag, and the customer got what they wanted. So let's keep doing that. No, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about that.
I definitely value your integrity and standards, because like you do know how to say no to certain things, which then just shows again that that you being a craftsman is not for the money. Because if it was, you would have been saying yes to everything, which you did not. You have been doing various projects since college, of course, post-college and currently, and you've probably done many pieces of work. What are two that really stand out over your journey as being a craftsman?
Wow.
Because you gotta have to narrow it down.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work, and I'm always happy to go back and look at some of the first pieces that I've done. Two pieces that always come to mind are Black Panther and most recently a New York Mets piece that I did. So one of our fellow Terps that reached out, shout out to Larissa. She's a very, very good friend of mine. We went to school together, and her son is a huge Black Panther fan. And at the time when Chadwick Boseman had passed away, he was very depressed and he was very sad. And this is around maybe, I want to say summer of 2 years ago. She said, I want to get him something Black Panther for Christmas. I'm giving you time. It's summertime. And she took to me and said, I've seen your work. I know what you're capable of. I want you to think of what you could make me that relates to Black Panther for him. So I came up with an idea called the Book of Wakanda. And if you go through my Instagram, you'll be able to see the concept. So I'm just going to describe it really quickly. It's 1-inch block pieces of wood in the shape of a book. And they've been bound together using 2 hinges. So on the cover is Black Panther's face. So when he's wearing the mask, but the detail in it is very unique, because if you look at it straight on, you'll think that, oh, he just painted Black Panther's, the outline of his face. What I did was, from the slab of 1-inch wood, I carved into it and then came up with acrylic that's glow in the dark. And then poured the acrylic into the carved out portions, sanded it down, and then painted around it black. And it shows as white. But when you turn a black light on, which is purple, and you
Right.
shine it on the book, it glows in the dark. When you open it, it has Chadwick Boseman's face.
Okay.
And on the inside of it, it has a quote from, I think it's Captain America Civil War, where Chadwick Boseman explained how you go from life to death. And that piece required a lot of my attention, and I actually loved it. So I didn't want to part with it. I wanted to keep it. But Larissa had requested, and she contacted me, and she said, I need to commission you for this piece. And most recently, a New York Mets piece. So I was reached out to by a family friend. His son-in-law is actually a player for the Mets. So he said, I need the Mets logo, but I don't just need the Mets logo. I need it to have a saying at the bottom, his name, and then I need him to be memorialized as having the 7th inning scoreless inning. So he basically pitched a scoreless inning. He didn't let anyone score.
Okay, right.
So that was like a big deal to him. So not only do I know that it's going to a professional athlete to have in his house, but it's a family friend who's now the father-in-law of this guy. So I think that piece and the Black Panther piece, two different genres. You have comic books and what is that? Superheroes, and then you have actual sports, right. Major League Baseball. Okay. Two different pieces.
Was the part on the cover, was that hand carved, or was it?
No, that was done by the machine. Okay. But as I spoke a little bit about earlier, the idea that the machine is doing the carving, that's only one part of it. So like anybody can, I can do that too if I had the machine. But the level of detail of understanding that, why don't I get an acrylic that will glow in the dark when you apply a black light to it? And then
the creativity is something that
no high level of skill required to put out this kind of product.
So y'all hear? So yeah, he's been doing this for over 20 years. So y'all better come out when you're out. So that means you too, Dad. You're watching this one day. With you being a craftsman, how has that gotten you out of your comfort zone? It has.
So I'm not the, outgoing, I'm very shy, or at least I used to. I think, having pledged in the fraternity and then starting my own business, I had to learn how to engage with other individuals and strangers and, just learn to be a little bit more outgoing and friendly and learn how to network. So in doing my artwork, I have branched out a little bit more and started to relax a little bit and take chances that I normally wouldn't have taken in the past. So being shy as a kid, I normally would reject, offers for free things, and people would ask me, hey, do you want to go somewhere? And I would turn it down because I was too shy to accept and say, hey, you want to go to the park, or you want to go to Great Adventures? And you want to go? And I was saying, no, I'm fine, thank you, even though I've wanted to go. But I think in my later years, I've learned it's probably not as bad as it could be. Take a chance, have a little, backbone and risk to say yes to different things and try different foods and different activities. So I think learning from interactions with customers and, just meeting different people, take a chance. Yeah.
So you were shy as a kid, and then obviously you're not shy. Well, I won't say obviously, but you have had to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So with that said, has anything happened with your business to make you possibly revert back? I'm not saying I want you to revert back, no. Because everyone needs to experience things. Having this business for over 20 years, I'm pretty sure that may have had a client maybe was not the most friendly kind of person. So then how did you even balance giving this person what they're asking for, paying client, but also not the nicest person?
I had a very, very bad experience with one particular request, and it wasn't the customer, it was the community, social media. So one of my chapter brothers, Sigma, he was getting married, and he was marrying a Delta.
Okay.
So he asked me for a custom piece, and the piece was half of the Phi Beta Sigma shield and half of the Delta Sigma Theta shield. And he asked me to put them together because they were coming together as being married. I did it, but it wasn't, I actually made a Sigma shield, cut it in half. I made a Delta shield, cut it in half. It was one piece that I actually designed to come together and be half and half. It was beautiful. Flawless. One of my best pieces. And I actually brought it to him. He asked me to bring it to be on the easel at his wedding. Everybody came. They were like, wow, this is great. This is beautiful. And he posted pictures of it, and I posted pictures.
You're obviously proud of your work.
I couldn't believe the backlash that I caught from not only the Deltas, but from the Sigmas as well. You cut this in half. You don't cut the shield. That's my shield. How dare you? You should never do that. Your work is disgusting. It's disrespectful.
You think it got extreme now.
So they gave me so much backlash that, my frat brother, he called me. He said, hey, man, I need you to do me a favor. Can you take down the picture? And I said, take it down, baby. This is beautiful. I love it. Do you love it? He said, I love it. So what about your wife? Does she love it? He said, she loves it, man. But she's getting calls from her sorors, and they're saying, no, that's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And I said, man, tell her ignore it. He said, I did, but can you just take it down? And I said, I'll do it because you asked me to, but not because I wanted to, because I love this piece. And you love it, and your wife loves it, and that's all that should matter.
Yeah. But like you were making this, it was a good and service for them.
Yeah, that was my wedding gift. Like I was, I was like, hey man, you're gonna have this forever, and this is gonna be a staple in your house.
Yeah.
People needed business, so to the point where I had to block people.
Oh,
so I think that
would have never thought that would have been the bad experience in terms of just something that you took so much pride in that turned out beautifully and didn't offend the actual customers, but like people around them were offended. That's a lot.
Yeah, social media, it gets rough. It gets rough out there because people, Twitter fingers, keyboard gangsters. Yeah. So they're behind their keyboard and they're typing on their phone all this tough talk about what they would do if they saw me in person. So I blocked a couple of people, over artwork. And it always sticks with me that piece is still in my frat brother's house, prominently displayed, and she loves it, he loves it. But these people on social media were so offended by it that they, were saying all these nasty things to the point where I had to block them.
So a piece of art that is not even theirs.
You don't own it. You didn't pay for it.
It's not even your house. But you don't even know. So.
Yeah, it was terrible. So I think that wasn't something that I expected, but I dealt with it, and I had to take it down, which hurt me a little bit because I'm always proud to display and share my work. But I still have pictures of it.
And you may also get a request down the road of two other Greeks that don't maybe go together, but they may support.
I think even the Sigma shield and then the Zeta shield, you can't see it over here. Yeah. We have two separate.
Y'all don't see it. Y'all gonna see it because it is right there.
We have two separate, and the reason why I won't cut it is because of the backlash I received. So you got your own, I got my own. We're good. I'm not cutting anybody else's shield. I learned my lesson on that one. Yeah.
I think that these are the beautiful pieces that you have here on this side, and then you have some up there. There is the Phi Beta Sigma with the content. Let me not content. Where is it? Let me actually cut that out because you can't even see it. So let me just not even trying to explain what it is because you can't even see what it is. What has been the biggest lesson learned, and what has been your biggest success throughout your whole journey?
Lesson learned, I would say, believe in yourself. Specifically for me, to know that the work that I'm putting out is worth what I'm charging. So I've learned that people don't necessarily respect boundaries when it comes to pricing. So I've had a lot of back and forth up here internally about where I'm pricing my work at. And, because it's such a unique, I guess, niche work, I can price what I think it's worth, but then people don't necessarily respect my price. And they'll try to, hey, I don't know if I have that much. How about this? And they'll try to bring the price down.
Work hard over 27 years. Say no to that.
So I think with my price, and if the price isn't respected, then respectfully let the customer know I don't think that this is going to work. And there's other vendors out here that will give you a lesser product, but it's not going to be as good as what I'm doing.
Was that hard for you at first to say no to certain, I guess, price negotiations per se?
Yes, because my work isn't based on just the general price, so $200 for everything. No, it depends on the amount of time.
Right.
It depends on my schedule. So if I have, 5 orders in line, and then you're asking for something very intricate, and the colors and, the size, everything needs to be listed out so that I can understand how much work is actually going into this, and also supplies. I think after COVID, there were supply chain issues, and going to Home Depot and looking at how much wood was.
Right, how it is now.
You look at the price now.
Vastly different. Somewhat handy. Amanda, and I know the price has gone up so it's from before COVID.
So, just understanding that, my supplies, they've gone up too. So I have to raise the price. It was difficult because I think I'm a nice person, on social media, in person. But for people to try and take advantage and say, $500, no, maybe about 100 or 200. I think that was the part where I had to stand up for myself. I say, well, I'm going to be spending 3 to 4 weeks on one project. You're going to have it in your house. You spending this amount of money right now so that you can have a permanent fixture in your house forever, it's worth it. And having to explain that to somebody, I think after a while, it became something that I wasn't ashamed or scared to do, stand up for myself and say, no, this is the price. If you don't like it, that's fine. I don't have to make it for you.
It's not the same for free. You need to pay the price. As time has gone on from you being in college to now, I mean, it's definitely limited, of course. Whether you're a craftsman, whether you're a musician, or whatever it is, your talent and skills are going to increase usually as time goes on. And then with that, of course, usually your price would increase as well.
That's right. So I don't, cower to people asking me, for discounts. Generally, I'll let them know up front, this is what you're looking for. And I'll just reiterate that if you're looking for something at this size, this level of detail, this is the price. And of course, there's negotiations back and forth. Hey, can you change this or reduce this because that price is a little bit too high? And at that point, then I can say, oh, sure, yeah, we can change some things up about the, logistics of what's going on. But in general, you can't just tell me how much you're going to pay for what you request. That don't work.
What's been your biggest success?
I haven't gauged that, to actually say, this is what has solidified me as a premier craftsman. I think sitting here right now with you and reflecting on the idea that someone actually wanted to talk to me about the work that I'm doing, that's a success to me, because that means that somebody's recognizing my work as actually being something that is worth talking about. Yeah.
Picky about, what's the picky? I'm very picky about who to be a guest. And so I definitely see value in what you're doing. It's almost like, okay. I saw some of your work through some of, I guess, a mutual Turk fan, and we actually, I think, have a mutual friend through graduate school. And so your work definitely is nationwide, maybe even worldwide. You never know.
I think one thing I had an issue with was shipping,
Okay.
and I'm still working on that because a lot of my pieces are fragmented.
Yeah.
And I remember shipping a piece out to California, and it arrived in several different pieces. It broke up because it costs a lot of money to ship things, and when you put fragile on it, that really doesn't matter. These guys are tossing that stuff around. So I like to hand deliver my products and pieces. If it can't be hand delivered, I might drive as far as 4 hours. I think 4 hours, which is New York. I've gone to New York to deliver things. I just went to New York to deliver the New York Mets piece. Maybe 4 hours, North Carolina, but I think that's the extent of my service to delivering things. Shipping is still pretty bad. I don't like shipping because there's no guarantee that the work is going to be delivered intact.
And so that actually answers one of our previous questions about what makes you stand out, because you learned your lesson, unfortunately, in terms of that one piece that was crafted beautifully here in the DMV, but in California, it did not arrive how you thought it would be. So I definitely think that makes you stand out, that you will hand deliver your pieces to clients in a certain distance, and 5 hours is not close. So it's still a good ways away, whether you go north, south, east, or west.
Yeah, another success. I was just thinking about it. My fraternity chapter, Epsilon Psi, we just celebrated 50 years last year, 2022, and we had our international president come as the keynote speaker.
Okay.
The chapter asked me to make him a gift instead of just going to an awards kind of store to get a plaque made. They said, "Can you make him a piece?" And I said, "Sure." And they said, "Do you?"
Right.
We don't have anything. Just come to us with whatever it is you got. And I was able to present him with a custom one-of-one design with the state of Maryland on it. It had his name on it, Phi Beta Sigma, and it had 1972 to 2022. He was taken away, breathtaking. And for our international president, that was something that made me feel like, I'm at a level now where I can give people, or I can present people with gifts that they feel are like, these are timeless keepsakes that they'll always have in their home or their office. That was mind blowing to me that I could actually have a customer that was at that level.
I know that you know it deep down inside, but you are very, very humble. So just because you're humble, in my opinion, doesn't mean that you have to hide from knowing what your skills are and knowing your value, because you're obviously doing amazing work, and now it is worldwide. So where do you see yourself and your business in the future? I won't say 5 years, 10 years, but down the road, I'll say whatever years that is.
Yeah, I'm looking at expanding my workspace. So right now I'm currently working out of my garage.
Right.
I have to move my wife's car out, so I have space to work. I'd like to find a studio and lease out some space where I can go, and I can. I'm looking at also a new machine that instead of having to carve things out, it would be a laser that would actually burn the wood out, which is a faster technique. It's cleaner, and you have less residual like sawdust.
Okay.
And it doesn't have as much noise. So one thing about being a craftsman is you have to use these tools, and these tools are loud. So you have to have eye protection, ear protection. So I think with a laser, of course, eye protection, but it's not as loud. So I wouldn't need ear protection. I won't have to use a vacuum to clean up sawdust. So that's going to reduce a lot of the work that I'll have to do after the fact. Now, so we're talking about studio space, In terms of production, a lot of people have been asking me, hey, how come you don't make things in bulk? Well, the time that it takes. So if I'm able to get a machine that's going to cut faster and cleaner, then I can produce things faster, and have residual items for sale, which is going to increase the amount of money. When you said, where do you see yourself 5 years, or, what's next? And I remember when I was a kid, probably about my son's age, 10 or 11, I think maybe 11. I went out to dinner with my family because I had won an award from the United Nations for artworks. So I was in this art class. So again, my mother, single parent, she wanted to make sure that I was staying out of trouble. So she put me in an art class, not to learn art, but just to learn different techniques and, be involved in something. Stay busy. And in that class, they had a competition of something that you think would be your dream home. So my home was, I drew a house, but it was from an aerial view. And in the middle of the house, there was a big open space. And I said that this is glass. I had my artwork facing up on the roof so that when planes flew over, I was 11 years old.
So it's like sixth grade?
Yeah, I think 5th or 6th grade. Yeah. And the concept was when planes fly over, they look down and they see my artwork. Like, it's beautiful. But I didn't have scale in my mind to say, oh, they're not going to be able to see it. But it won. It won, and they gave me an award. So I had to get a suit, I had to get a tie, I didn't have that. And I was, awarded from the United Nations. So at that time, my mom, I think it was my brother recording, and he said, hey, congratulations, man. What do you want to be when you grow up? I said, oh, well, I want to work for Disney. I want to be an animator, and I want to sell t-shirts. I want to make good products.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you were 11. Okay. So then when is the last time you have seen this video that you were foreshadowing at the age of 11, which you're going to be doing later on in your life?
So it's on a VHS tape. I don't even know if I have a VCR to actually play the tape. So it's been like 10 years. Okay. So I need to go back and actually watch it again and show my kids.
They love to number one, see their dad on video and that young age. But also you just have this vision from that young age up to what you have been doing now for 20 plus years.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure that, we talked about that because that was important to me, because I always look back at that video and just, I'm amazed, like, should be making t-shirts? Because I used to make t-shirts. Yeah. How do I do?
It's what you deep down inside. This has been a great conversation with you. Is there anything else that you want to share about your business?
I think if you have a passion for something, that you should approach it and you should go after it. I think, this podcast, this recording is awesome. And that's your position. And you could have easily been like, I don't know this guy, no opportunity to even reach out to him, but you didn't. And this is your passion. And this was such a great conversation. So I think if you have a passion for something and you love doing it, there's no greater time than now. Because a lot of people, they like to put stuff off and say, oh, I'll get to it later. And I'll do it when I have free time, or do it now. Because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
So right. This whole YouTube series, if someone would have asked me even last year this, I would have been like, what? You? Oh my God, that's for my sister. She's the social media person. I'm not that person, but just something happened with me. I'm in a good way. Last fall, that just really showed me to stop waiting for what I want to do. And so that means I am a one-woman show for now. That's what I have to do just to get this out. But since we talked about all of your work, the key question is, how can people find your work and how can they buy it?
Instagram. So I used to have an Etsy store, And I kind of decided to come off. Etsy's charging so much. They take a lot of my profits. So I'm doing direct to client right now, so that if you want to reach me, you can follow me on Instagram, Mr. Ineffable.
Please spell that.
MRINEFFABLE.
Also be linked in the description.
Yes, Mr. Ineffable. And please do not be afraid to send me a direct message, a DM. Karal sent me one, and I'm responsive. I can contact you back. Feel free to send me messages, requests, quotes, permissions, anything that you might have. So I'm friendly.
Yes, we're actually recording in his basement. He has amazing work all over his walls. So he does, obviously, on fraternities and sororities. He does sports teams. I see something on the wall that y'all can't see right now. Is that wood against the wall?
That's it. That's the fellow.
Okay.
So Jay-Z, yeah.
How the wrong is, no, it's like
It's Rockefeller. So right now they actually have an exhibit in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Library for the Book of Hope, it's just a museum exhibit for Jay-Z and his career in hip hop music, and not just music, but everything that he's done, from philanthropy, whatever. So I'm a big fan of hip hop, specifically the 90s. And that piece specifically I did by hand. So I was telling you, I have a machine that cuts for me now. So I did that Rockefeller piece by hand. Testudo, that's by hand as well. And yeah, all of these are.
Like that.
No, we'll take a tour around. You'll get to see all of the different pieces that I've done.
There.
You might have to do like a walking tour to show all the pieces.
Didn't even think that it was wood.
Yeah.
Well, I have really, really enjoyed our conversation. And I'm glad that you got out of your comfort zone and that you got past the shyness enough to just to talk about your craftsmanship, because as you were kind of saying earlier, this is somewhat of a dying trade, but like you have your passion and you're really, really good at it. And so y'all know how to find Chris on Instagram, Mr. Ineffable, and that will also be linked, that will be being put directly on his IG, and look at all of his amazing artwork and products. But do you have any closing words before we sign off?
I want to thank you for reaching out. Go Terps once again. Very, very proud of you stepping into this arena and, just following your passion. So I think this is something great that we need to keep doing. There's a whole lot of Terps that are doing great and amazing things, and you're included in that. I'm included in that. Yeah, so.
But I am being biased.
Yeah.
So thank y'all for joining again on 1st and 15th. Be sure to check out past episodes on YouTube. And if you enjoyed this episode, how about you give us a little thumbs up or a comment? Even subscribe. So we will see y'all in a few weeks for the next guest. Take care, everyone.